Alright, hello folks, welcome to Bars and Books. I'm Usman, and I'm back today talking about some of the books I've been reading. It's been a while. I've been getting through a lot more self-pub. Basically the last of the self-pub that I'm going to get to before I dive into a lot more of the things that I've been meaning to dive to for many years now. So let's go through it. It's been some great stuff, some decent reads here. I'm going to start with a advanced reader copy that I picked up from Readsy Discovery. Just on a whim, it sounded interesting. And this is Errant Gift by Riss Price. I hope I'm saying that right. But this is a blend of, we got some thrilling mystery here, some fantasy, and a lot of horror elements as well. But for a debut work, this is truly impressive. Price has very, very smooth prose. It flows really nicely, you just keep flipping pages. The context here, the biggest praise that I can give this is the way he does not hold your hand. It takes a little bit more brain power to read to basically get everything in the story. He doesn't provide a lot of context. There's no like info dumps. Heavy on the characters. You really get inside these characters' heads and feel the things they feel, experience the things they experience as much as you can from reading a character. The plot threads are very, very nice. The flow, it just keeps moving, the plot, and a lot of interesting things happen. And combined with this little to no context we get, it makes for some truly interesting reading. You have to piece things together as you go. He'll scatter some bits here and there. You have to pick up on it, and as soon as you do pick up on it, you just, that little hit, it's like a hit of dopamine you keep getting throughout this book when you pick up on all these things that the author doesn't make obvious to the reader. So, it's pretty rewarding, and we do get, along with, as soon as he feeds you some more information through that structure, he also adds more and more questions. And so this sort of structure just keeps you flipping the pages and wondering about characters, about events at large, what's going to happen. So I got through this fairly quickly, and it was very enjoyable. I would definitely recommend this if you like a good fantasy story with some horror elements thrown in, and one that doesn't have a lot of info dumps and requires you to really pay attention to certain things, but it is incredibly rewarding, like I said. It starts off with this mysterious fallen star that we come across. The characters come across this shooting star that kind of lands on the planet, and there's a huge element of mystery to it, and it really shapes the characters that we follow and the world and these events at large in interesting ways. So it affects all of that. It's just super, super interesting. So if it sounds up your alley, definitely check it out. This was an ARC, so I believe the release date is... I'm going to put it up right next to me. So that is the release date for this book, and yeah, I recommend it. It was very good work. So let's get to the books that I mentioned that I'd be reading in my last update. First up was Tempest by Thomas Botea. This was a short, quick sci-fi novella, heavy on the action, but it's a debut. There's a lot of concepts that the author is playing with here, and some of it pays off, some of it could really have done with some refinement. A lot of the elements that he's creating, this universe that Botea is creating, is pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. So as he sort of hones his writing skills, I'm pretty interested to see, what he tackles next, what more we discover in this universe, and some of the characters we follow. But being heavy on the action, and being, a short novella, you can't really blame it for that, but regardless, it was kind of jarring at times with his writing style. But like I said, it's a short little action-packed sci-fi story, and being someone who wants to get into more sci-fi, it was enjoyable for me. and just, a decent debut, I'll say that much. Now, next up on our lit RPG journey, Nick and I have been tackling He Who Fights with Monsters. So we talked about book 2, we tackled book 2, we talked about it, we have a chat up, so I won't say anything there. You can check out the chat for our full spoiler thoughts on book 2. I did enjoy it more than book 1, so it seemed to be, going up for me, the enjoyment with He Who Fights with Monsters. However, we did also tackle book 3, and book 3 was a bit of a letdown for me. It was just mediocre. I mean, I gave it 3.5 stars or something, but we do this on audiobook, and the narrator, Heath Miller, does a great job. Obviously, Nick enjoys this series a lot. It's one of his favorites. I guess it's a little disappointing that I couldn't match his enthusiasm for it. We don't have a chat for this book up yet, but it's coming up. We got these info dumps of stats and whatnot, which is something I dread when diving into lit RPG. I don't know why that structure changed so much from the first 2 books, but maybe the author was kind of experimenting with a different little format here. It didn't end up paying off in my opinion. There were some pacing issues, but like I said, some really, really intense moments. I think this is like the end of the first arc, book 3. So it was unfortunate. I didn't enjoy it as much. We will be taking a short break from He Who Fights with Monsters. Going to tackle some other stuff, some new stuff for the both of us. So stay tuned for that. But that is where we are with He Who Fights with Monsters. We will come back to it hopefully soon at some point, not giving up on the series yet. After that, I dove into Gilded Kingdom, 7th Born, and I finished this. This is a thick book provided by the author, C.J. Irvin, and this took me by surprise. Irvin's prose is remarkable. I would say this is as good, if not better, than any independently published or traditionally published book. This is up there to rival, great works. So definitely I would recommend this. The only issue, if I'm nitpicking, the only issue I had was the extensive proofreading that would be in order for this book, more so than anything I've ever read. It would require more proofreading. That shouldn't be something to really get to me or anyone, but it was extremely apparent here, and it really needs to do with some more of that. So anyways, some of the timeline structure was a little unclear, let's say. So, just some basic editing, I'd say, proofreading, that kind of thing. But other than that, this is phenomenal. We follow multiple POVs here, heavy on the political intrigue, but it's just interesting. Anything from following a character who's coming of age, struggling with an identity crisis, or just all the intricacies involved in running a kingdom. We follow all that, and it's all super, super interesting. Irvin really knows how to keep the audience captivated and flipping the pages. So this was a great book. Highly recommend it, and great work by the author. I look forward to more. The story isn't even over yet, so I would be very eager to get to the next one. I'm not sure when it would be out, what the plans are, but this is a book I recommend, Gilded Kingdom. After that, I continued my journey in the New Blood saga by W.D. Kilpack III. This was Relari, book 4, and very enjoyable. I mean, it's much thicker than all the other books. Still a solid entry into the series. I'm still super attached to all these characters. We do explore a lot more of the world here. There's more travel, more exploration of lands and cultures. So if you like that kind of thing, it's scattered throughout. It's not just this book, but this book more so than the others. So what's interesting is, you might think, lots of travel, lots of exploration. might get a little tedious, but no. Killpack does a great job in, while we're exploring this, we're also, through our extensive cast of characters here, we're learning all the nuances involved with the magic in this world, you know, and these discoveries of new concepts he's creating here. So it's really, really interesting. I enjoyed that. I was also eager to get to some of the other characters in this story, so we do follow them as well. We get to them. Big turns, big twists and turns, and I am super eager to get to the next one. It isn't out yet, but from what I heard from the author, it should be out this year. So very, very enjoyable. You know, New Blood Saga is quickly becoming one of my favorites of all time. Definitely, this series is one of my favorite things I've read all year, so great work and looking forward to more. I also have an interview with this author. Actually, by the time this is out, I will have had that interview, so I will link that interview with this video. You can check that out. We talk about all his work, primarily the New Blood Saga, because that's what I've been enjoying. So yeah, check out the interview with this author, and looking forward to more. The last book I want to talk about is Born in Fury by Moshe Winter. This is a dark, epic fantasy, and it's got all the rage and trauma and vengeance you could expect from a book with this title, so it's aptly named. Some epic conflict with this empire and all these various tribes. It's got dragons, it's got lots of interesting plot threads and POVs. The characters that we follow here, we follow very intimately, and they have some seriously traumatic upbringings. The only criticism, I guess, maybe a subjective thing, but when you're exploring, you know, when you're taking such a big risk with characters like this and ideas like this, upbringings like this, it might have been a little more beneficial, in my opinion, to explore that a little more, maybe a little more of a character study, you know, stew in that element a little longer, just to make it a little more poignant. But being a debut was phenomenal, and as obviously Winter hones his craft, I'm very, very eager to see what else he will write in this, I believe it's called the Tapestry of the Tarnished. I like the way Moshe Winter wraps things up with the story, and he's also said that there's going to be a lot more to explore in this world, so like I mentioned, can't wait for that. So those are all the books I've read recently. Just a few more things I want to talk about, some book mail, because, you know, I never have enough books to read, obviously. No, but this is something I'm very excited for. This is Riven Earth and Sundered Moon, the Book of Astia by Zamar Amr. So, I've heard great things. If you look at that cover, that is just the most aesthetically pleasing cover, in my opinion. This looks like... The moment I saw this, I knew I had to read it. And hearing about, you know, what it contains, I think I'm gonna love this. I think I'm gonna absolutely adore this series. This is highly anticipated for me, so very much looking forward to this. I have to prioritize this, especially since the author has sent me the books now, so very, very excited for the Book of Astia, and I just love those covers. So, looking forward to that. And finally, I have picked up an arc for Performances of a Death Metal Bard by Rob Lay, and I'm sure nobody is surprised by this because metal and fantasy. So, obviously I'd have to read this. Obviously I'd have to get the arc, and I can't tell you how excited I am to dive into this and talk about it on the channel. I can't wait to discuss it. Look forward to that. Look forward to more author interviews, more Lit RPG chats, and some more dedicated reviews to books and series that I'll be tackling. Obviously I got the standalones for First Law coming up. I'm gonna get to some more self-pub that is long, long overdue, and also horror. Horror is coming up very, very soon on this channel. Lots of horror. So look forward to that, and thank you everybody for watching. If you liked the video, you can like it and subscribe to the channel. for all of that, and thank you, and I'll see you next time.